In the face of increasing controversy over the administration's position on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the ban on openly gay people serving in the military, the White House today was forced to clarify, to reiterate that they are, in fact, working on changing the policy. Why were they pushed into admitting that? Well, I think it's because Marie Cox keeps bringing it up at the White House. As we reported last night, she raised it yesterday with the White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs at yesterday's briefing. He told her that the president is, quote, working with the Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff to change Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That was awkward because a Pentagon spokesman had said on Tuesday that nothing like that sort of work was happening at the Pentagon. Today, Marie Cox was back at the White House briefing room, still pressing for answers.
You said that the president is working with the Pentagon and the Joint Chiefs of Staff on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. But earlier this week, the Pentagon said that the conversations were, quote, initial, and that there is, quote, no sense of any immediate developments in the offing on efforts to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So I wanted to give you a chance to correct the Pentagon on that. And I have two other questions. What other policies are there?
You're going to ask like that, you're going to get bumped up like the first row. Let me address the first question, because if I'm not mistaken, the Pentagon did correct that statement on efforts regarding the reform on Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
So there are active conversations
happening now? Yes.
Okay. And then I wanted to know if there are any other policies that the president believes to be, as you said yesterday about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, not in our national interest, but is content to let Congress take the lead on. And second, President Truman didn't see it necessary to clear segregation through Congress, so how is this different?
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe I used some poor language, but the president is involved in these discussions. It was the president's commitment to overturn the policy that's not in our national interest that is the reason for these discussions and for the effort to overturn this. So I think the notion somehow, the reason Congress is involved is the only durable and lasting way with which to overturn the policy is to do it by law.
So when can we expect a durable policy on racial segregation in the military, since that's never gone through Congress?
Well, I'm out of my depth as a lawyer, but and I'm not exactly sure of the timing of when President Truman did that, but my sense is that there were also some legal proceedings around that. You can't, try as one may, a president can't simply whisk away standing law of the United States of America. I think that's maybe been the undercurrent of some of the conversations we've had over the past few days on Guantanamo Bay. But if you're going to change the policy that is the law of the land, you have to do it through an act of Congress.
And so there's pending legislation? I didn't see any.
I don't know what's been introduced in Congress.
I do. Joining us now, fresh off her latest battle with Press Secretary Robert Gibbs, is Marie Cox, national correspondent for Air America and contributing editor for Playboy magazine. Is that new?
It's true. That's my new gig.
Wow.
Yes.
How's that going?
Well, this is actually going to be the first thing I'm going to write about for them, is Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the president's sort of shifting explanations about it.
Well, your exchange with Robert Gibbs yesterday, which we played on the show yesterday, and this extended exchange today, sort of remarkable on any subject in the briefing room, but to see him being that careful and saying so little. I have to ask, have you had any further communication or clarification from the White House on this since these two questions?
Well, I did get a note from one of the assistant press secretaries that reprinted something that one of the Pentagon spokespeople said that I actually hadn't heard before. I can read it if you want. It says something. It says that President Obama has been very clear in his direction that he is committed to the repealing of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I don't think it actually does any more to convince me that there is active negotiations underway. However, based on several different conversations I've had with people at the White House and near the White House, I do believe them that this is a priority for the president. I do think this is a genuine concern of his. I think where the problem lies is in how they're explaining their strategy.
Well, on the issue of what the president could do, what he legally has the capacity to do, you asked him this question about the analogy of racial desegregation in the military, and I'm confused by his implication that Truman didn't just take executive action. He said there was some sort of legal proceeding around that issue. Do you know what he's talking about there?
I have no idea, because I know that you studied history as well, and actually that's completely wrong. President Truman actually did just, whisk into history the desegregation of the military. He did it without an act of Congress and without any pending legal cases. However, it's true that Don't Ask, Don't Tell is codified law, which makes things a little more complicated. It's an actual U.S. code of law. However, I think, as you and I have discussed, there are things that Obama could do through executive order. He could stop the implementation of the law. He could suspend the law for a little while. There are several different things he could do. What I think is important here is I don't think they're really waiting on Congress. I think they're waiting on the Pentagon and they're waiting on the military. To go back to the Truman, precedent, Truman actually had a few different panels and commissions on his side, military panels and commissions that weighed in and said that the right thing to do, the thing to do that's good for the Army, that's good for the military, is to desegregate the troops. We haven't gotten that kind of decision from any kind of military commission or panel as far as, integrating other people into the military.
Or letting people stop lying who are already there.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, like, part of me doesn't even understand why this is an issue, so I have trouble articulating, like, what the problem is.
Air America's national correspondent and contributing editor for Playboy magazine, Marie Cox. I'm very much enjoying saying that. And this has been amazing to watch. I hope that nobody's giving you a hard time in the press briefing room for asking these questions, but you're being very dogged and impressive.
All right, thank you, Rachel.
All right, thanks.